The recent Mahmoud versus Taylor case from the Supreme Court is more than just about individual religious freedoms or one family opting out of something. It's about whether the public schools can still serve the American public if we let individual freedoms and individual beliefs carve up their entire curriculum. I'm Shant Karnikian, joined by Brian Kabateck on Civil Action on the Legal AF Network. Today, what are we talking about, Brian?
Talking about the United States Supreme Court decision of a couple days ago, Mahmoud versus Taylor out of the Montgomery County School District in Maryland. Look, I want to start off by saying this right up front. The Republicans, the conservatives have no problem when it comes to their elected officials establishing the curriculum, doing away with critical race theory, or telling colleges and universities to get rid of DEI programs in their curriculum and in their schools. Yet the minute you've got elected officials, and that's what they were in Montgomery County, they were elected school board officials making a decision about teaching LGBTQ rights to children, that immediately becomes an infringement on constitutional religious freedom and religious rights. And in a decision that you can only really state is a acrobatic attempt to fit a square peg into a round hole, they simply did just that. It's offensive. It should be offensive to anybody with a conscience. And I've got a lot to say about this, Sean. And so ask me some questions. Let's take away this discussion and where this goes.
I'll start. What is with the rights obsession with what happens in people's pants, with what happens in people's bedrooms? Why are they so obsessed with that? The party of individual freedoms, individual rights. Why are they so obsessed with the government controlling whether people can talk about, LGBT rights?
I think you said the key word, controlling. It's control. They want control over your lives. They want control over your thoughts. And this is the problem. And look, if in this school district, they had a day or days where they would read and children would read books about LGBTQ rights. One of them involved the marriage of a favorite uncle to his boyfriend, and the way that the majority cast this book as if there's something wrong with that, as if it was a pro-gay book about how to be gay. Instead, it was a little girl who thought she was losing her uncle because he was getting married. And so they take this and they really take a story and change it to something they want to. But the one thing I want to talk about here is, where do you draw the line, right? Yeah. I mean, first of all, let's be honest. What do you think, Shant, would happen if you were a gay child, a child who either was identified as gay or had gay parents, and on the day they're going to teach this particular curriculum, half of your class is not there because their parents have kept them home?
Yeah, that's so offensive. I mean, that's soul crushing to people. That's just crazy to allow them to do that. And I think based on a ruling like this, there has to be notice that probably goes out to the parents where they can now opt out for religious reasons. I mean, it's just crazy. And that's not even scratching the surface. Look, I get it. Your focus on this issue is control. The one thing I worry about is how our curriculum is going to get developed now. Where do we draw the line in terms of what can be taught in schools? I mean, everything's going to get chipped away. You're going to have a patchwork of curriculum compliance based on each individual family's beliefs. And then is it going to be religious beliefs? What if it now becomes just social beliefs? And that family goes, well, we don't like that. I'll turn this around and I'll pitch to you another kind of crazy, but not so crazy scenario. What if it's a family of racists and they don't want their child to be in school the day that they're learning about slavery? Does the school now have to respect the opt-out of the family that doesn't want their child to hear about slavery? I mean, that's probably next.
Right. I mean, where do you draw the line? If you cover anything in religious freedom and you say it's my religion, and my religion doesn't like brown people. My religion believes that America should be white. Whatever it is, my religion doesn't believe in Thanksgiving. So I want my child held home on days when you talk about holidays like Thanksgiving or Christmas. Where do you draw the line? Right. But remember, Shant, and I think this is an important point for everyone to understand, that oftentimes the right, the conservatives, look at things and look at issues in the long game. They're not looking for immediate changes. They're looking for fixes to what they want to see change. Just like going to the deli and the meat slicer, where, they just slice one little slice of that meat each time or that cheese each time. But eventually it's gone. And here, I think what we're seeing is a pathway to reverse gay marriage, the gay marriage decision from 2015. I think
what's their obsession with that? What's their obsession with people, the same sex marrying each other? I mean, I'm not even asked what's wrong with it, because it's such a stupid question, but what is their obsession with it? Is it traditional values? I mean, I don't understand. I guess it's a means of consolidating power, and they know that their base detests things like that. So
I'm not even going to try to justify or explain it. I think it's deeply offensive. I think the thing too is that young people don't see the issue with gay classmates or gay parents the same way, we certainly did when I went to school in the 1970s, which I know, Shant, was a very long time ago. And I know you're sitting there right now thinking about how old I am. But the truth is, the world's changed. And today, young people, at least up until this point, haven't been obsessed with this issue. But I just want to return to how we are really engaging in marginalizing a sizable group of Americans here, whether you are a person who identifies as LGBTQ yourself, or you have parents or family or close friends. We are marginalizing a group of people in this country.
Yeah. And it's like by no fault of they did nothing wrong. This is how they are. And it's something that we should embrace in our country, that this is tolerated, it's accepted. I commend the people that have the courage to express that. So, being able to teach that in school and being able to talk about those types of identities and why they should be included is only a good thing. It only helps people. I mean, even if your religion is opposed to it, it just simply helps, because it makes the world a more inclusive place. And then you have, the Trump administration coming in and just shutting it down, shifting everything to be more conservative. This weird goal of trying to get rid of gay marriage or undermine the rights that minorities like this and marginalized people, already marginalized people, have marginalized them even. It's just awful. It's deplorable. And the chilling effect that it has. This is going to make schools have to water down their curriculums to avoid controversy, to avoid talking about things that might offend some people or people find wrong. It's just awful.
I see that there's going to be other lawsuits that are going to deal with similar issues. This is inviting other lawsuits that will be used to refuse services to same-sex couples, that'll be used to restrict access to same-sex couples, to families with LGBTQ people in them. And I think that I'm going to give one quote here that was out there, and I can't tell you specifically who it came from, but it was Mahmoud versus Taylor is a dog whistle for anti-LGBTQ plus policies. It's not just about books. It's about erasing us from public life.
Yeah.
And I don't think you could say anything more than that. But I predict you're going to see a lot of other cases that are come out like this. You're going to see a lot of other challenges. So my final word on this is that this isn't final, that stay tuned, because there is an agenda. Yeah. And it's an agenda of the far right, and it is their interest in trying to, come up with an America which doesn't even look like the real America of 2025. So you get the final word, Shant, as usual.
I mean, my final word is that this is sad, but people need to be mindful of the bigger implications of things like this. This is a long game for the far right. There's a bigger agenda here. It's chipping away at individual freedoms, which I find so ironic, because the right is the party of individual freedoms. I find it so ironic. And I'll end with this question. Does anyone understand why the right is so obsessed with what's going on in people's pants? I just really want to know. So if you know, please tell me in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And thank you for tuning in. I'm Shant Karnikian. That's Brian Kabateck. This is Civil Action on Legal AF.